Hey guys, welcome back. So today I want to talk about this journey that many of us may take that leads us to a more realist perspective in life, seeing reality and seeing things more so as they are. So I think that throughout our lives, we can find ourselves on a few different frequencies, right? And let's just think of the frequency of reality, how things truly are, as the middle ground, perhaps the equilibrium. And let us think about the optimistic side as, that higher frequency, and think of the pessimistic view or perspective as the lower frequency. Now, I think that throughout our lives, we can perhaps either fluctuate through these frequencies or we can either transition from one phase to another. So, looking back on my life, I found that, when I was a bit younger, and perhaps this is the more time of, this is perhaps the time that we may fall into this category. When I was a little bit younger, I found that of course, I was a little bit more naive. I didn't have much experience in life. I didn't see many things or didn't experience many experiences, the positives, the negatives. I just was a little bit more inexperienced, right? And this period of my life, I was characterized by being perhaps a bit more of an optimist, right? I remember a friend of mine actually brought this to me. I think it was around 2009. She was telling me, she was like, I don't remember the exact words, but she was like, you are such an optimist. And I was like, isn't that a good thing? Of course, looking back, or at that time period, I thought that was a good thing, but I can understand perhaps why this statement came to be. Like I said, I was a little bit more naive. I tried to find the positive in everything, and I am more so that way now, but with intention. This was perhaps I was subconsciously doing that, trying to find the positive in everything. Someone presented something, a negative view to me. I tried to uplift them or give them the positive message that I thought that could help them get to where they're trying to go or to elevate themselves in that period. But as time went on, when I went through the more darker period of my life, the slump of my life, perhaps my depression in my life, that frequency fell. That frequency fell, and it fell more so on the pessimistic side of things. So I am more of an introvert, so I didn't really express my views to other people. But one of the things is when you fall into this state, you find the negatives in everything. You find, the reason why life isn't going great for you, and you find everything that's wrong with life for you, everything that's wrong with you, everything that's wrong with other people. I remember for me, I had this view that could have gotten out of hand, this view of society and everyone in it being corrupt, everyone in it being manipulative. And you can see why this perhaps isn't a great thing to fall into. That whole woe is me mentality, everything was negative. I had a negative view on everything. And perhaps, of course, when you have this sort of view, when I had this sort of view, life, everything around me was negative. It was a reflection of how I felt, right? I was on this lower frequency, this negative frequency in life. And as time went on, when I began to transition out of that period, that's when I more so came to a more realistic view of life. And I guess you can characterize this as being perhaps a realist. I began to see things more so as they are, with less of a controlling of emotion. So when you're on these higher or lower frequencies, right? When you're not on that equilibrium, I feel that this is when we're a little bit more, our reality, what we see, how we feel, it's more so a reflection of those extreme emotions, right? Even when you're on that higher frequency, let's just say that you're not, perhaps you have had experience in life and you aren't so as naive, right? Even so, when you're on this higher frequency, you're controlled a little bit more by that higher energy. You're controlled a little bit more by that positivity, right? And one of the things is that you are a little bit more vulnerable to being manipulated. You're a little bit more vulnerable to, someone coming into your life and, harming you in some sort of way. And perhaps you weren't able to see that coming because, well, you saw the good in them. And that's a good thing to be able to see the good in them. But let's just say, for example, you're in a relationship or you're about to date someone and someone warns you not to go in that relationship because they can see things how they really are. And you more so say, no, maybe this person will change. I can change this person, or, maybe they're not as bad and all this sort of stuff. And then you continue to, you go forth with it. You have a chance of being manipulated because you weren't able to see things clearly as they truly were. Your judgments, how you felt about this person was controlled by your emotions, and you had those heightened emotions, and they put you in a situation to be manipulated. Now, this can apply to many different areas of life, of course, but this is just one example. So even when you're on that positive frequency, there can be a negative there, right? So of course, on the negative frequency, as I said before, you see the negative and everything, and then that negative energy comes off, and it pushes other people away from you. People usually don't want to be around that negative person that always complaining, always finding excuses, and always just putting that negative energy on them, because it's gonna drain them, it's gonna pull them down. So on each side of this equilibrium, on each side of this this frequency band, there can be a bit of a negative that can result from being too extremely high or too extremely low. Now, I don't want to tell you that, this means that you should try to drop your energy if you're on a higher energy frequency, right? I don't want to tell you that, because in my opinion, it's much better to be on that higher frequency than to be on the negative one. What I more so want to say is that you want to be able to have clarity, right? That clarity is what allows us to see things as they are. That clarity allows us to see reality exactly how it is. So we aren't in that position to be manipulated. We aren't in that position to make bad judgments based off of heightened emotions. And also we aren't, down in the slumps, and we aren't, making bad judgments off of those emotions as well. But again, if you are down in that more pessimistic, that lower frequency, I think it's much better to sort of elevate yourself. I think that we have that decision, we have that choice to remove ourselves or to elevate ourselves more so towards a realistic view in life. And again, that is what happened to me in my life. I dropped from the optimistic side of things, the more naive view, and I fell to the pessimistic view. And this is the reason why I want to bring this up in the video, is because I think that this more darker side, this is where people can tend to get trapped, right? If you think about it as a bit of a pit, that pessimistic area, that's this negative view on life and all these sorts of things, they're down in that pit. And it's a bit more of a challenge to rise up out of that pit, right? It's a bit more of a struggle to rise up out of that pit. It's easier to fall down, but it's harder to climb back up. But I think that is a decision that we can make. And after we make that decision, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, right? That doesn't mean it's going to be smooth sailing. It means that we're going to have to put a lot of effort in. We're going to have to put a lot of effort into monitoring our thinking, monitoring how we respond to the experiences that we have in life, the experiences or the things that other people bring into our life, right? We have that decision, and we're going to have to put in that effort to elevate ourselves more so towards a more realistic view on life. And, again, in my life, when I began to climb out of that pit, right, this was characterized by a period of a lot of questioning, a lot of pondering in life, a lot of, questioning why am I here? I begin to, I don't want to talk about religion. I respect everyone's views, but, at this period in my life, I began to ask God, right? Or what God was to me. I began to ask him what my purpose was. Why am I here? Because to me, when I was down in this pit, there was a good period of that was a little bit, characterized by not wanting to live, right? Wanting to do things to myself that could prevent myself from living any longer. But the fact that I survived throughout this period, I began to ask or question, why am I here? There must be some reason why I'm here. And of course, as I've said in other videos, eventually I got to a point in life where I decided upon my own purpose, right? I made this decision of what my purpose wanted to be, what I want to dedicate my life as. And this was not something that was, perhaps given to me. This was something that I made the decision of what I wanted to go after. But again, that period was characterized by a lot of questioning. As I questioned, I began to elevate myself a little bit more towards that equilibrium, a little bit more to being able to find clarity in my life, right? And as I've gotten older, it's become important to me to actively monitor what's going in and out of my head, right? To bring some of those subconscious things that were going on to my life to my consciousness, so that way I can analyze them. I can, I can filter what goes in and out of my head and how I choose to respond to them. And that is what has led me to this state of a bit more clarity in my life, right? That has led me to that state of not being clouded by these high emotions, right? And not being falling down to this pit of viewing things as a negative, negative perspective. So again, I feel that if you're going to fall on any frequency, at least, at minimum, fall on that equilibrium where you have that clarity to see things as they are, right? This does not mean that you have to be emotionless. It more so means that you're able to see things as they are, right? And if you're going to move in any other direction after that, then you want to more so, it's better to push yourself towards that more positive side, more, being able to see things in a positive view. And I think that that's something that's just going to naturally come. If you're able to see things, if you're able to be more of a, on the realistic side of things, see reality as it is, I think that that's something that's going to, perhaps will come naturally as a reflection of how you feel about your life, as a reflection of how life is going for you. If things are starting to go well, you start to, continue to work on your goals, continue to work on what you want to achieve in your life. Then as you get closer to that, as you get closer to bringing those things in reality, you're going to feel more fulfilled, right? And as you feel fulfilled, you're going to elevate yourself, but you're still going to have that clarity, right? So perhaps you can think of this as an optimistic realist, maybe. I don't know. What do you want to call it? But just think about that. Maybe that's the frequency between being naive, right? Let's think of that top frequency as just being naive. And being that optimistic realist is that frequency in between being naive and the more, seeing things exactly how they are, right? Because of course, how we feel about life is going to reflect on, our experiences, right? So if we choose to see the positives in the things, and we choose to see, if something negative happens, we choose to find the positive in that negative, then we're going to elevate ourselves to, a better frequency. We're going to feel better in life, and I think life will yield to us some of the things that we're after. But anyways, that's all I want to talk about today. Hope this video has been short and sweet. I haven't really been very active on my YouTube as of recent, and that is because I'm going through this period in my life where I'm more so experimenting with things. I'm more so catching myself and experimenting with, challenging myself, experimenting with my thoughts, observing my thoughts, and, learning some things as I go along to understand why these things are happening and why I feel the way I feel. And but again, the main purpose of that is to be able to get a better understanding of, how we behave, how we feel, and, to be able to share with you guys my, ways in which I have, conquered my life that can help you do the same. So it's been a great process. I've been reading a lot, studying a lot, and, just keeping busy with doing those things. So the reason behind that is there's good reasons. Continue to work on the website to get that going for you guys. And I'm loving it. I am very excited to get that going, get that out there. But we will have that out very soon. And my book, still working on that. I wanted to be done with this book several months ago, but I found that it's taking a little bit longer than I initially thought it would. But anyways, still working on these things, and they will perhaps be done soon. And some other projects that I'm working on that I'm very excited about to start at the later half of this year. So things are very busy, but just know that the things that I work on is for a good reason, and I hope to share them with you guys very soon. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope that this video has been helpful to you, and until next time, I'll catch you later.